My ex-wife laughed when I lost my job and took everything in the divorce. What she didn't know about my secret patent would destroy her. Hi everyone, welcome back. Today's story will blow your mind. I'm Kenji, and my marriage was pure hell. When Yuki laughed at me after I lost my job and decided to end everything, I let her take it all. The house, the car, everything I'd worked for. But there was something she never knew I had. And when she found out, her world came crashing down. I met Yuki 8 years ago through mutual friends at a small gathering. Just a regular hangout with familiar faces. And then there was her. We clicked instantly that night. I remember thinking, she actually gets me. Coffee dates became dinners. Late night calls turned into morning texts. Before I knew it, we were planning our future together. We didn't drag our feet with dating for years. Everything moved fast. I wouldn't say we rushed blindly into marriage, but we definitely didn't waste time. I thought I found my soulmate. Sounds cheesy, but I was certain about her then. Back then, I worked as a software engineer. Fresh out of college, I'd landed this amazing job. By the time Yuki and I got married, I was pulling in solid money. My salary covered everything we needed and more. We vacationed 2 or 3 times a year. Yuki loved shopping without checking price tags. I wanted her to enjoy life. There's this pride that comes with taking care of your family without sweating every dollar. From the outside, we looked perfect. A well-matched couple living the dream. Inside, I thought I had everything. But here's the truth. People can share the same sunshine and still want completely different things. I didn't see it then. I had no clue that the life I thought we were building together meant something totally different to her. 6 years into marriage, everything changed. My company started struggling. We weren't growing anymore. Profits tanked. Management called us in for emergency meetings. To keep the company alive, they needed serious cuts. First thing to go, our bonuses. But that wasn't all. They told us if the company got acquired, we could sell our patents independently. The ones we created while working there. That caught my attention. I had this particular software patent I developed. I knew exactly what it was worth. If the company sold, I could pitch it myself. And we're not talking pocket change here. This thing could change my life forever. That's why I stayed. Sure, I had other offers. I could have jumped ship for a new job anywhere. But I believed in this opportunity. Plus, honestly, I felt loyal. They gave me my start right out of college. I owe them something. The trouble started the moment I told Yuki what was happening at work. I explained things would be tight for a while. Bonuses were gone temporarily, but we weren't drowning. We just needed to ease up until things turn around. Her reaction was brutal. She looked at me like I'd personally insulted her. Then came the ice-cold shoulder. That conversation kicked off a nightmare chapter in our marriage. The woman I married slowly disappeared. Yuki used to be supportive, or at least she pretended well enough. I started noticing everything was about status to her. She became obsessed with appearances and what people thought. Suddenly, she compared me to every man she knew. One time, she flat out asked why she had to live like this. Like we were in poverty or something. We weren't broke. We still had our house. 2 cars. We ate well. But she wasn't taking 3 vacations a year anymore. No weekly shopping sprees for new handbags. To her, that was suffering. I kept explaining things could change any day. That I wasn't just sitting around doing nothing. But every time I said that, she'd laugh. Oh please, Prophet Kenji, should I wait until I'm dead before things turn around? The sarcasm cut deep. I tried explaining that switching jobs wasn't simple. Chasing short-term comfort might mean missing something bigger. She didn't care. Then get another job. I don't want to hear it. It didn't stop at words. She started staying out late. One night, she didn't come home at all. When I asked where she was, she said she crashed at a friend's place. I asked calmly, Yuki, we didn't think to come home before dark? She scoffed. What am I supposed to do? Come home and babysit you now? It became crystal clear. She didn't just lose respect for me. She resented me. Then she said something that broke me. You're not spending money on me anymore. Don't tell me what to do. After that, I stopped trying. Every time I brought anything up, she'd sigh dramatically or walk out. I became quiet and withdrawn. I felt like I was living with someone who wanted me to fail just for an excuse to leave. The worst part, I was still holding on, hoping she'd snap out of it. I was wrong. Everything really fell apart the day I got the news. My company had officially been acquired. The writing was on the wall for months. The new owners wanted their own lean team. I was politely told I'd be let go with a severance package. That evening, I knew I had to tell Yuki. I wasn't expecting comfort. I hadn't gotten any from her in ages. I sat her down and told her straight up. The company's been bought out. I'm being let go. They're offering severance. Before I could finish, she laughed, looked me dead in the eye and said, I always knew this day would come. You're just not built for success. I can't describe what that moment felt like. Like she'd been waiting, expecting me to fail. Like she was finally proven right about something she'd been keeping score on her head. From that moment, it got worse. She mocked me in front of her friends. Said things like, he married me just to ruin my life, or I should have seen this coming. He was never serious. But what she didn't know, what I never told her because of her behavior, was that I had one last card. When the company announced the acquisition, I had this patent I developed mostly solo. My old boss knew about it and told me, Kenji, don't let that patent go cheap. These new owners want it badly. They'll pay big for it. He was confident, and that gave me quiet hope. But I told no one, not even my wife. I didn't trust her anymore. She'd already shown me I was only valuable when money was flowing. So I kept that secret. A month after losing my job, Yuki's attitude went from bad to outright cruel. When the divorce papers came, I honestly wasn't surprised. She said we'd grown apart. When I stayed quiet, she added, I've settled too long. I need someone who's going places. That line stuck with me. Yuki had already checked out. I didn't have proof, but my gut told me she was seeing someone else. The overnight stays, the way she stopped pretending to respect me, it all added up. I didn't fight it. Got my lawyer involved and signed the papers. Everything she wanted, I agreed to. The house, the car, alimony. But I had one condition. Through my lawyer, I requested the alimony be calculated up front so I could pay everything at once for my severance package. That way, she couldn't chase me down later if my situation changed. Most importantly, we included a clause saying she had no right to sue me for additional payments in the future. No matter what happened, Yuki was thrilled. You could see it in her face. She really believed she was walking away with everything. She even laughed when her own lawyer hesitated. I remember him trying to advise against signing away future claims. This might not be the best move. You never know what could come up later. She brushed him off, too caught up in her upgrade fantasy. She thought she was trading a failing husband for a better life and didn't want anything slowing her down. Just like that, the divorce was finalized. No drawn-out court battles. No bitter fights. I let her walk away with everything and more. She made sure the world knew it too. Yuki went around gloating to friends, telling everyone how she took the house, car, and got paid in full. To her, it was a clean break. To me, it was closing a chapter one was ready to end. She thought she'd won. Thought she'd left me in the dust. But what she didn't know, what she never saw coming, was that the real story hadn't even started yet. After the divorce, I disappeared from social scenes. While Yuki flaunted her freedom and bragged about her new man, I kept an even lower profile. I wasn't hiding. I was waiting. The company I'd worked at for years was still finalizing post-acquisition paperwork. These things take time. About 6 months, to be exact. 4 months had already passed since Yuki walked out of my life when everything was sealed. Then came the moment I'd been quietly preparing for. When the new owners reviewed our intellectual properties, they saw the patent in my name and wanted it badly. Instead of offering licensing agreements for royalties over time, they decided to buy it outright. Just like that, the offer was over $80 million. After everything was finalized, I'd get $67 million. I don't care how composed you think you are. When you see that number in writing, your heart skips a beat. But I kept it professional and followed every piece of advice my lawyer gave me. He warned me, don't take this in your personal name. If word gets out, people you've never heard of will suddenly think they're entitled to your success. So we set up a limited liability company owned by a trust-based offshore. When the money transferred, it never hit my personal bank account. Legally and financially, I was protected. Yuki wouldn't see a single cent. That night, after everything was finalized, I sat alone and let it all sink in. I didn't buy a mansion, didn't take luxury trips or post anything flashy online. Instead, I quietly opened my own company under the trust. I chose not to draw a salary. There was no need. For me, it wasn't about showing the world what I'd become. It had been over a year since the divorce papers were signed and dried. Life had moved on, or at least that's what it looked like. Yuki had moved on quickly with her new guy, flaunting their relationship all over social media. Life was great on her end, at least on the surface. Then came the discovery. Somehow, somewhere, Yuki got wind of my fortune. She found out I wasn't broke, hadn't hit rock bottom, wasn't the failure she said I was. But what she didn't know was that the very thing she mocked me for, staying loyal to that job she said was beneath me, was the same thing that made me wealthy beyond her wildest imagination. To make matters worse, she and her new man had already burned through most of the money I gave her in the divorce. Turns out when you put someone with expensive taste and poor judgment in charge of money they didn't earn, it disappears fast. When she finally realized I got a massive payout, she was furious. She lawyered up and filed a motion to reopen the divorce financials. Her claim? That I committed fraud, that I'd hidden a massive payout during the divorce process, and she was entitled to her share. Suddenly, the same woman who told me I wasn't built for success was dragging me back to court, trying to claim part of the life I built after she left. But she was already too late. Just like with the marriage, she didn't see the value until it was no longer hers to claim. I got a notice from her attorney. He hit a massive payout during the divorce. We demand our share. That was her entire argument. When I first read that, I laughed. She clearly had no clue how airtight that divorce agreement was. She never bothered reading the fine print. My legal defense was simple. First, the patent sale didn't happen while we were married. It happened after the divorce was legally finalized. That means it's not marital property. Case closed on that point. Second, the patent itself was mine from day one. I built it from scratch on my own time, using my own skills without a cent or second of help from Yuki. She didn't invest in it, didn't even know about it. Third, the money from the sale wasn't even paid to me personally. It went straight into a limited liability company owned by a trust, not in my name. Finally, the cherry on top, we'd already signed a clause in the divorce agreement barring either party from suing for additional money later. Her own lawyer had warned her, but she wanted fast cash and signed off anyway. In court, we brought everything. The exact date the patent was sold, months after the divorce. Proof the patent was created long before we even started having problems. Documentation of how the sale and trust were structured. And of course, the original divorce settlement with her signature right next to that clause saying no future claims. When the judge asked me to respond, I kept it calm, looked straight ahead and said, "Your Honor, the sale occurred after we signed, and I disclosed everything I was required to." I could have walked out satisfied knowing the case was dead on arrival. But I didn't stop there. I decided to hit back. I filed my own lawsuit. Why? Because they broke the agreement. That clause wasn't optional. Dragging me to court over something we both agreed was off limits, meant breach of contract. I sued for damages, specifically to cover all the legal fees I had to spend dealing with their baseless claim. And guess what? The court agreed with me. The judge ruled that Yuki and her lawyer violated the terms of the original settlement. They were ordered to pay my legal fees. Was it a huge sum? No, not even close to what I spent during the whole process. But it wasn't about the money. It sent a message loud and clear. You don't get to walk all over people and then cry foul when your gamble doesn't pay off. After everything was finally over, I sat down and wrote a letter. I wrote it because I needed to say something I never got the chance to say during all the chaos. I kept it simple. The letter read, "Thank you for leaving when you did. I couldn't have done this with you around. I knew if she had stayed, I never would have had the clarity or peace of mind to go through with the patent deal. Her negativity, constant nagging, the pressure to prove myself to someone who never really believed in me. It would have eaten me alive. Her leaving wasn't just a blessing in disguise." A few days after she got the letter, she called. I let ring out the first few times, but she kept calling. Eventually, I picked up. She was crying. Finally said she was sorry and had messed everything up. Asked if we could meet and just talk. That was the first time in years she sounded like the woman I married. But it didn't change anything. The damage was done long ago. I told her no. I'm not meeting up with you, Yuki. I wish you well, truly. But some things once broken can't be rebuilt. Now, when people ask if I know how she's doing, I tell them the truth. I don't know and I don't care. I really don't. When you finally find peace, the last thing you want is to go digging into old messes that nearly broke you. Looking back, I realized the betrayal wasn't just about the divorce. Sometimes the best revenge is not needing revenge at all. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the situation down below. I'd really love to hear what you think.